There is a question in the chat to you from Mark Gordon. Do you have a niche area that focuses on the TVET engineering sector?
Yes, we do have a niche area, and you may go to the our website, and you can connect with the coordinator who would be able to give you more information. But we do have a TVET niche area.
Okay, wonderful. And your website is what?
www.segera.co.za.
.co.za. Okay, all right. We'll distribute that also. Okay, that is good to hear. Do you have, while we're there, do you have a STEM education focus? Do you have a niche for that?
We do. We've got a curriculum niche area, and they take on a variety of engagements, and part of that is STEM. I come from a STEM background,
Oh.
and part of our curriculum, their focus is STEM, but also the TVETs. There's a focus on STEM as well.
Okay, that is very good to hear. Thank you very much,
Yes. Thank you.
That's good news.
Thanks.
I'll go to some of the other questions now, and we see how much we can fit in before 2 o'clock. Ronald Rahwasha says climate change-induced pandemics are evidenced through COVID-19 are a glaring reality. What work is being done on pandemic prevention and preparedness? I don't know if this is a question for patients. No, for Dr. Kokong, I assume. Dr. Kokong, would you like to answer that?
Thank you very much. The NICD is actually actively working on pandemic preparedness. Obviously, there's lessons learned, and I cannot go into specifics, but questions can be sent to us, and then we will respond to it. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Yes, I want to mention just that it is so important and impressive that we've got a National Health Laboratory Service, which includes the NICD. We saw what an enormous role it played during the pandemic, and we have to be ready for the next one. We're all sick and tired of hearing of COVID, but we will have another pandemic. It's almost certain. So I'm very glad that we have this safety net and this sense of preparedness. Zarina says, thank you to all the presenters on providing such meaningful insight into R&D in their respective fields and South Africa as a whole. Amanda Chulayu says, thank you, Dr. Malope, for the informative presentation. I'm interested in understanding the type of research that suffice grant approval. Which areas must the principal researcher focus on? Is there a possibility for animal-related research to be considered, especially if it focuses on biotechnology, nanotechnology, food security, consumer health, and policy development? Dr. Malope.
Yes, thank you very much, Yancy. Animal research will be supported as long as it's clear how it will contribute to improving pathology and clinical interventions. Nanotechnology, specifically NIOH, actually has a special unit on that. So we will specifically link them to the unit. So for every research that comes, as long as you have clear objectives and how clearly it will improve diagnostics or clinical interventions, we will try to review and link you to relevant people to work with you. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic.
Just to say that support obviously will come to researchers who collaborate if it's funding support with NHLS. But for the NHLS Research Trust, grant funding of 500 1,000, as long as you are in a pathology department, you will be funded. Thank you.
That is good news. Right, so they must go to the website. Will they be able to find the information there, or should they contact you?
I think our website is not up for now, but they can contact me directly. And
Okay.
I think they can get my contact numbers from Ashley or any one of you, but they can contact me.
Yes.
And I don't mind to share my email address.
Fantastic, thank you. Ashley, if you're listening, or Mankwe, please post the email address in the chat. Okay. Dr. Merida Smith says the question from the participant from Limpopo inquiring where to send an indigenous plant for analysis refers. The NSDF Forum is looking at the challenges of growing the S&I sector in South Africa. Aside from Dr. Perry, the emphasis has been on the formal scientific institutions in SA. The RDI investment survey would have been interesting if it had shown data from 1994 and not only from 2000. That information is available on the web. I just want to inform you. Do have a look. Because there was a large exodus of scientists out of the government scientific institutions in that time, I'm assuming 94. Where did they go? They either went to existing technology companies or they started their own. As a previous senior researcher at the ARC, I left and started my own company in rural development, concentrating on entrepreneurial development in a deep rural area, KZN and Eastern Cape, assisting rural youth, women and people living with disabilities, developing small manufacturing companies and innovative products using primarily indigenous resources. You're overlooking an existing private scientist resource. Well, if we had known about this, Dr. Smits, we could have had a presentation on that. Do keep in touch. Let's see if we can't give you some airtime, maybe through our e-newsletter. But it is indeed a very interesting sector and difficult to measure and track. So the national statistics tend to focus on the formal sector, but you will remember that there was an aspect that also looked at NGO research and business research, and it didn't exclude small companies. So I think if they know about you, they can include you. Busisiwe said, if possible, can Prof. Mtunzini, is that Mtunzi probably, elaborate a bit on the molecular diagnostics of HIV/TB presence, please? I found the idea of putting the lab on a smartphone a very much needed and urgent innovation. Prof. Mtunzi, have you answered that question? I don't see Prof. Mtunzi.
Yancy, I think I saw her apologizing, saying she has to go to another Zoom meeting.
Oh, okay. All right. Then Mark Gordon says, greetings, colleagues, hoping that all have read the book, Why Innovations Live or Die, South Africa's Innovation System by the Mapungubwe Institute for Strategic Reflection. That looks interesting, indeed. Okay, I think that is it. Please tell me if I've missed something, and I open the floor for audience questions. Please put up your virtual hand. Okay, if not, I will go to the answered questions. Starting at the end, there is Sean Perry's email address. And Gordon Branson asked, my question relates to the how and why of integration of sustainability into the life cycle of the products presented. Oh, yes, I have read that one. And someone asked, Dr. Mchunu, it's a very interesting initiative about open science. Asked whether The Africa Archive is only limited to health science topics or diverse topics. And she said, no, it's a general repository. Okay, I think we have dealt with the questions. If you want to contact any of the speakers, please contact our office and ask us, and we can forward it to them. The presenters' presentations will be on the website, and usually they provide their email address on the presentations. So please remember, we will keep you updated through the NSTF e-news. So when the presentations are up, when the media release comes out, etc. Dr. Merida Smits. There, I've allowed you to talk. You may unmute yourself and talk.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that answer that you gave just now. I don't mean that I want a platform or a forum. What I'm seeing a need for, because this is, as I've mentioned in my question just now, we concentrated yesterday and today very much on the national institutes, the research councils, the universities, and so on. And I'm a good researcher. I've won many awards in my capacity at the ARC and thereafter. And I concentrate on the needs of South Africa. And many of the mid-career, I mean, rocket scientists, all of us, who left between 94 and 2000, and it was because of a reason mentioned many times yesterday and today. We're talking about the problem of technology in South Africa and innovation, and we left because of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Almost like Dr. Perry was saying, things weren't going fast enough. That's why he left. So I'm similar to him, and I know there are many like us who have left the ARC, the CSR, HSRC, and what I said to myself was, there's too much to do to write another report, to waste time writing another report. And I left. And my company's been going for 22 years. So good business person, good scientist, doing the stuff that our government and our president asks us to do every year in the State of the Nation address. What are our priorities? That you have to, if you're in the private sector, I say in inverted commas because it's small, you have to do what the country needs. Otherwise, you don't get funding. But what I'm seeing is, and by the way, my company is in the R&D survey every year. Lovely young man called Sintu who irritates me until I complete the survey every year. So I'm in all those sort of things, but I don't feel that there is a space for similar organizations. We are a resource. We're out in the field. We're at the coal face, so to speak. But let me try and write an article. Then I've got those publication costs that the lady mentioned. If I try and write an article, I've got to have an ORCID number? How do I get an ORCID number? I'm myself or my company. I always have to collaborate with universities and so on. And most of my staff are all agricultural graduates, highly qualified, and always wanting to do the next MSc, PhD, and so on. But we have approached universities twice and wanted to insist that the intellectual property of the research we wanted to do was ours, because we have got a couple of patents and trademarks because we do product development, and then the universities would not be willing to sign the IP agreement. So I'm saying that there are policy issues and there's discussion needed around creating a home, if you like, but let's not bureaucratize it, but that we can apply for national grants, because of the work we're doing. Just because we're not at a formal research institution, we are doing cutting edge stuff with our own funding or from overseas donors, or I get a lot of my money from BEE. Corporates looking to get their BEE score in enterprise development. That's how, so I'm being innovative in my funding model, for example. But the work we're doing, I'd love to publish it. And I've written it all up, but where to publish and pay the fees and under what banner am I writing it? You see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's my bit.
Thank you very much, Dr. Smith. So it's good to hear from you, to hear your voice, and to understand what these issues are. And those are very concerning indeed.
Just add that to the mix.
Yes, it seems like it is worse than than being at a formal institution. I mean, all the challenges actually just become exponentially bigger.
Yeah, the innovation is there, but the platform to encourage that innovation is not.
What is your company's name?
Scientific Roots. So it's scientific and then Roots, ROOTS. The incubator, Agribiotech, the place where we do the product development and entrepreneurial development, is called Agribiotech, TECH. And that's an NPC. So we've got the PTY, which is Scientific Roots, which is accredited for skills development and so on. And then Agribiotech is the incubator. And we are developing some amazing entrepreneurs, very much in the Dr. Perry realm. Innovative use of indigenous resources. And we talk about innovation and skills development and scientific graduates. I'm working with rural youth. These are school leavers, rural women, middle-aged women, people living with disabilities, and with the right mentorship and what I call targeted creativity, the products they're coming up with blow your mind. And then my job as the scientist in the bunch is to do the efficacy, shelf life, and safety research.
My
You
goodness.
see how that fits, you see how that fits together. The innovation is not just scientists. It's in the man who makes the boerewors, or Oma Rusks. Those are the stories I like to use. But they're coming up with novel beverages, health food products, all based on speaking to their Oma or speaking to their auntie.
Yeah.
What did you use to fix that cow, Oma, last time? Then they come and we look at the plant and then my research kicks in.
Right.
So they have this novel little idea, but then when I start packing it with the research side of things, I mean, that's innovation. And that's what our country has been asking for.
Indeed.
But we rely only on the scientists. I gave the keynote address at the 2012 Women in Science Awards. Okay. And if anybody was in that audience, I spoke about, and I don't mean any disrespect, but the science and innovation structure in South Africa pays for scientists to sit behind their desks and chew their pens. And I use that as an analogy of blue sky research. They sit there and they come up with stuff. We need blue sky research. But in South Africa, there's too many problems and too many solutions just lying out there.
Right. Yeah, so this sounds like grassroots innovation.
Very much.
You call it that.
But it needs research to verify it.
Yes, indeed.
And then I can put that verification. Everything's done, GLP, good laboratory practice, all these international standards that I use in the research. And I can write a pamphlet that goes in the product box giving the results. But wouldn't it be nicer if that I can just put a reference to an article?
Yes. No, indeed, it's a huge challenge. But
Yeah.
Tia has been working on grassroots research and entrepreneurship. Have you been in touch with them lately? I think it's fairly recent.
I went to TIA, I would say 7 to 10 years ago. But I wasn't pleased with the intellectual property rights processes. And because the patent that we have subsequently done was extremely novel,
Yeah.
and I just felt there were too many people were touching my papers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just felt that there
Yeah.
were too many people.
It
And
might still not be it might still not be suitable, but the Department of Science and Innovation is having a drive where they're working with grassroots innovators. So it might be worth just checking it out.
okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, fairly recent development. The past
Is
2,
it that
3 years.
is it that Sesame Fund?
I don't know what it's called.
Innovation Bridge, because I wrote them all down yesterday. Innovation Bridge portal. Might be one.
No, it's look, it might be included in the Innovation Bridge portal, but I specifically know that they are pushing that from a policy point of view, and they have some awards as well at the SFSA for grassroots innovators.
Okay, I'll have a look. Thanks, man.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Merida. Tiamu.
Thank you very much, Yanzi. Apologies, I had to leave earlier because we had a South African forum, South Africa Science Forum committee meeting.
Okay.
And I put an announcement on the chat because I do sit in that committee. As you know, the forum seeks to really ignite conversations. I think this year's theme is igniting conversations about science with the sub-theme on innovation and science for humanity.
Good.
So I think stakeholders and organizations are really urged to think about submitting proposals for side events. I think you'll see there on the website, the major tracks really around youth in science, technology and innovation, STI, and Africa. Science, technology and innovation partnerships in the G20. You'll recall that South Africa is going to be leading the G20 presidency in 2025. So there's an opportunity there to also engage at that level. There is also a track on bridging science and economic diplomacy in policymaking. There's a track on shaping innovation, powering the future industries. And then there's a broader theme on global science for humanity, really covering the areas of agriculture, health, climate change, and just transition. And then the very important issue of bringing science communication and science journalism together. So I wanted just to pass on the message from the committee that stakeholders are urged to really provide proposals. I think the deadline is 23rd of August. I don't know if it will be, if it will move back. The area again for the themes is around side events, exhibitions. There's also an opportunity for Science Diplomacy Award nominations. And of course, the general themes that has just been outlined in the list that I provided. That's one thing, Yanzi. And then the other thing that I really wanted to emphasize also in this session is that there is the African dimension to the STI from the South African perspective and other countries. There is an opportunity through the current revision of the Science, Technology, Innovation Strategy for Africa, STISA 2024. As you know, this strategy is elapsing 2024. So there is a process to do a review, which has been conducted and completed. Now there's a process to develop the 2034 strategy. There's a draft. I think there's still a window of opportunity to provide inputs so that this 10-year strategy could be shaped, including by inputs, some of which you discussed in this particular sessions, Yancy. Very good inputs by stakeholders. And I think you can coordinate with DSI through MAMPE to provide those inputs because I think they are relevant to STISA 2034. There's also a report that is out that was conducted by Professor Mugabe, who is working with the AU on the review of STISA 2024. Very good findings, some of which overlap with what you said. I can also share that report because I think the discussions are related. So I thought I'd mention those two elements to your stakeholders here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiamu. Indeed, that's very useful. So that is the SFSA, and have a look on the DSI website for that, but we'll also put it in the NSDFE news, and the revision of the SDI strategy for Africa. And there might be a window of opportunity for inputs, but I will take up contact with the department, with
And
Mampe.
incidentally, also the Africa AU AI strategy has been developed and finalized to an extent. There's a window for stakeholder consultations regarding the implementation plan. Again, these things move very quickly. I think they could be consulted better. But the train is moving. Everybody's been talking about data, AI applications in these sessions. So again, there's an opportunity through the AI strategy for the continent to be able to influence, I think, the implementation plan and probably aspects of some of the activities. So I think UNESCO has been assisting with that. So hopefully there will be a formal announcement to that end. We attended the Department of International Relations and Cooperation organized session for G20 visioning for South Africa. And I think an announcement there was made by UNESCO that the AI strategy for Africa will be announced soon. So that's another element to look out for, given that these strategies, in a way, are a continental conduit for collaborations. So I would imagine in the implementation plans, there must be avenues for your organizations here to be able to engage in the continent. Thank you.
Indeed, that would be very useful. What is the deadline for that? Do you know?
I think for this TISA 2034 input, check with DSI. Mampe is the contact. She's collating the inputs for TISA. In fact, there was a workshop organized by DSI for stakeholders to engage. I don't know if there'll be a second round of consultations, but I think the window is very tight. Do check with her if you can still provide inputs.
All right.
Okay.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiamu. And then Mkize says, good day all. I just want to appreciate the valuable information that was shared with us in the past 2 days. Of concern to me is the fact that, as Dr. Mustafa explained, government is the biggest funder of research. We're going to see a decline in research that is funded by government because the government is quite low in funds. We see budget cuts in the government departments. So it looks like the other role players in the research fraternity, especially from the private sector, will have to support more research as long as it is for the good of the country's development. Apologies for a long message. Not at all, Mkize. That's you're very welcome. And it's a very important point to make. I also think we must keep urging government to increase research. The indications are that they will, but keep up the pressure. Busisiwe says, great to have education being represented in this forum. Thank you. With the pressure on HEIs to serve society in new ways, what innovation is SAIRA bringing to the table in this regard, particularly the STEAM group? Dr. Lucky?
Yes. So in our conference, we have a large attendance of, we have a STEM group. We've got a large attendance in our STEM group. And also we've got great connections with STEM and with STEAM as well, because a lot of our science education people are involved in STEAM. So it's growing within our organization. We don't yet have a particular niche area related to STEAM, although it's under the curriculum and TVET, as I said earlier. But this is growing, and I do have a science education background, like I said, and we are trying to push the development of STEAM within SAIRA as well. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Kin Concepts says, hi, is there anywhere I can help in technology, AI, rapid prototyping, and 3D designing? I would love to take part. Anyone who wants to answer that question? Okay, no, I don't think so. It is now 1 minute past 2, and I think we have run out of STEAM and STEM and everything out of discussion forum for today. I want to thank everyone who attended, everyone who has stayed up to this point. There are 98 of you. Thank you very much for attending, giving your input, listening, and for what you are going to tell other people that you learned here today, and the kind of issues that are very important for us to take up and go forward. To our presenters, a special thank you to you. It has been such a rich 2 days, so much information to take in, and the insights also regarding what the priorities are and the kind of areas that people haven't been aware of that should be prioritized. Going forward, like I said, we will be having a committee meeting with the Science Council's representatives to discuss how to take the outcomes of this discussion forum forward. The presentations will be on the website, the video recordings, and we will be having a media release with summarized issues, as well as recommendations. So have watched the space being the NSTFE newsletter, and do check your spam box so that you don't lose the information. With that, I declare this discussion forum closed, and I wish you a great rest of the day and the week. Goodbye.